Hey, what's going on, guys? It's HawksNest here, back with another Call of Duty mobile video. Now, inside of today's video, we're going to be talking about the QQ9 SMG as well as the brand new Fennec SMG. And then hopefully by the end of the video, you guys will know exactly which SMG fits your playstyle best. But before we get into the video, two quick things. Number one, this video is sponsored by Call of Duty Mobile, so a massive shout out to COD Mobile for actually sponsoring today's video. If you guys want to check out the game, a link will be down below in the description. And then number two is currently we're on the road to 500,000 subscribers, so if you guys enjoy this kind of content, definitely make sure to drop a sub down below. But with all of that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the video. So when we actually do compare these two weapons, I do want to let you know we're not going to be talking about the 10mm ammo on the QQ9, just because that basically turns the QQ9 into a totally different weapon, and more than likely I'll talk about that in a separate video where I do talk about the QQ9 a little bit more in depth. And that goes for most attachments. We will cover some attachments, but we won't go super in depth about all of the attachments. Mainly we're just going to be looking at the base weapons. So again, if you want to get more details on the weapons, I more than likely will be releasing a Fennec video as soon as Akimbo does release for that gun, and then hopefully in the future we can get a full QQ9 gun guide done as well. But for now, we're just going to be comparing the two base weapons, so let's go ahead and get right into that, starting with the lethality of both weapons. So starting with the fire rate of both weapons, the fire rate of the QQ9 is going to be 832 rounds per minute, and then the fire rate of the Fennec is 1098. So the Fennec is going to be a lot faster firing than the QQ9, which is surprising because the QQ9 is very fast. So to see an SMG that shoots way faster than the QQ9 is again really surprising, and the Fennec is actually the fastest firing gun in the game, period. In terms of the damage over range comparison between the QQ9 and the Fennec, you guys are going to be seeing that on your screen right now, and as you can tell, the QQ9 is going to have both higher damage as well as higher range than the Fennec, although they are very similar. But the Fennec does have a lot faster fire rate, so even though the damage is higher on the QQ9, the time to kills are going to be very similar. When we take a look at the body shot time to kill, so basically how long it takes to kill someone when you do shoot them in the body, the close range time to kill for the Fennec is actually very similar to the QQ9. It is slightly slower, but it's only 3 milliseconds, which is realistically like no difference at all. But one thing is that time to kill does extend all the way up to 10 meters, whereas the QQ9's 216 millisecond time to kill is only going to go up to 7 meters. So this means that the Fennec will actually kill at the exact same speed or faster than the QQ9 up until 16 meters, and then after that the QQ9 will take the lead. Now again, this was the time to kill for body shots. If you don't hit body shots, the QQ9 actually is pretty punishing versus the Fennec, where you can actually hit leg shots and still get away with pretty high time to kills. Okay, so now what we're going to look at is the time to kill for leg and arm shots, and basically if you see a little star next to a number, what that means is that the time to kill when you shoot the legs is going to be different than when you shoot the body. So for example, if we look at the QQ9 where it says 288 and then has a little star by it, basically what that means is that normally the QQ9 would be a 4-shot kill, but when you hit the legs, you're going to be doing a 5-shot kill, which is a 288 millisecond time to kill. And then the same thing applies to the 433 and the 505. If you hit body shots at those ranges, the time to kill would be quicker typically, but if you are hitting leg shots, it will be reduced. So as you can tell with the Fennec, up to about 6 meters, you can actually hit leg shots and have a totally normal time to kill of 219 milliseconds. But then everything after that, your time to kills will be getting higher and higher, which by the way is not a good thing. Higher sounds like a good thing, but you don't want to have high time to kills. You want to have low time to kills. So basically what this means is that the Fennec is very easy to use when you're very aggressive and in that 6-meter range. But then after that, you're going to have to make sure that you're hitting the upper body. Whereas with the QQ9, it's kind of mixed. Most of the time you want to try to hit the upper body. Close range, you have to hit the upper body because it is a 25 damage weapon to the body up to about 8 meters, which means 25 damage is a 4-shot kill. But then if you have even 1 shot just hit the leg, your gun suddenly becomes a 5-shot kill at that range, which is a 288 millisecond time to kill. In terms of the multipliers of these two weapons, they actually have identical multipliers of 1.1x to the head, 1x to the body, and then 0.9x to the arms and legs, which means you're going to be doing reduced damage to the arms and legs, normal damage to the body, and increased damage to the head. For the most part, this is going to be pretty standard among SMGs. So that is going to be it for the time to kill section of the weapon, and now let's go ahead and look at the accuracy and recoil of these two guns. In terms of the recoil, the QQ9 recoil will go up and to the right. It doesn't go up too much, whereas the Fennec shoots extremely fast, so it's going to climb extremely fast as well. But both of these weapons do have a fairly easy recoil to kind of learn. And in terms of the Fennec pattern, it actually goes straight up, and then right around, I think, 10 bullets in, it just takes a hard 45-degree turn to the left. But again, if you practice with these weapons, the recoil patterns really aren't that bad to learn. They don't go side to side basically at all, which makes it very easy to commit these recoil patterns to memory. Another important factor of the Fennec as opposed to the QQ9 is the Fennec's hipfire is a lot tighter, which you can see right here with a visual representation, where basically you can see the crosshairs, and then I just put a circle in between the crosshairs just to make it a little bit easier to see. And in terms of the accuracy stat inside of the game, the QQ9 has a stat of 38, and the Fennec has an accuracy stat of 22, so it definitely seems like the QQ9 will have a better bullet spread accuracy than the Fennec. Although in practice, they do feel pretty similar actually. So where it stands currently, it definitely seems like the Fennec is a better SMG at those closer quarter fights, whereas the QQ9 is going to have a slight edge at a little bit longer ranges of about, I'd say, anywhere from like 10 to 20 meters. But obviously with an SMG, mobility is going to be really big, so let's go ahead and break down some of the mobility stats for these two weapons. In terms of the sprinting speed, the QQ9 has a sprint speed of 6.43 meters per second, and the Fennec has a sprint speed of 6.72. So as you can tell, it is a pretty decent amount faster. The QQ9 has the same sprint speed as a lot of different ARs, whereas the Fennec has the same sprint speed or a little bit higher than a lot of the SMGs. And it's basically the exact same story for the ADS movement speed. The ADS movement speed for the QQ9 is 2.74 meters per second, and the ADS movement speed for the Fennec is going to be 3.01. So overall, the Fennec's movement speed will be faster than the QQ9's. In terms of the ADS speed, I clocked them in at almost the exact same ADS speed. I got 220 milliseconds for the QQ9 and then 218 milliseconds for the Fennec, so basically identical. But when we are talking about ADSing, one thing that I do like about the QQ9 is going to be its iron sights, especially since it has a ton of different skins with different iron sights, and I like basically all of them. Whereas the Fennec has pretty awful iron sights currently with the only skins that are inside of the game. So I typically run a red dot on the Fennec, but that really just comes down to personal preference and whether or not you like the iron sights. And also if you have skins that do have different iron sights, which once again, right now, the Fennec has none. Now let's talk about the magazine. The magazine is interesting. So first of all, let's talk about the QQ9 because that's a little bit more simple, and then we'll get into the Fennec, which is really weird and potentially bugged. But anyway, so with the QQ9 has a base magazine size of 30 and a reload speed of 1.95, whereas the Fennec has a base mag size of 25 with a reload speed of 1.57 seconds, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. So as you can tell, the Fennec's magazine size is going to be a little bit smaller than the QQ9, but it does have a little bit faster of a reload. The reload speed on the QQ9 is actually pretty slow. It's basically the exact same thing as the HVK, whereas the Fennec has a lot faster of a reload, and it actually has a very similar reload to the LK24. But here's the thing about the Fennec. The Fennec has a 25 round mag, which is way too small, especially for how fast this gun actually fires. So basically a mandatory attachment for this gun is going to be the extended mag A, which increases your mag. Now listen very carefully. It either increases your magazine size by 5 or 10. So basically the way that the extended mag actually works on the Fennec is this. So every time you respawn or when you first load into a game, your magazine size will be 35, but then after you spray that magazine size and reload, it will go down to 30. And you don't have to spray the entire magazine for this to happen. You just have to reload, and as soon as you reload, you will go down to 30 rounds, and it'll stay like that until you die and respawn, and the gun basically resets. I kind of think this might be a bug because one of the weird aspects of this is if you actually shoot like 3 bullets, you can't reload. So if you have 35 bullets and you shoot 3, so now you're at 32, you can't even reload the gun. You can't reload the gun until you go down to 29 bullets or below. So again, I don't know if this is a glitch or how that works or what, but basically most of the time with this magazine, you will have 30 rounds. But again, if you just respawned, you'll have 35. So honestly, this magazine kind of sucks, to be honest, because it only adds 5 bullets and you can absolutely fly through 5 bullets. But basically you need every bullet you can on this gun just because it shoots so fast. So hopefully COD Mobile makes it so it's 35 always, because that would be good for this weapon, because again, it just sprays through the ammo way too fast and 30 rounds is just not enough. Or maybe adds another magazine that can give you the capability to do like 40 with super reduced movement speed. And the downside of this magazine is that obviously your movement speed and reload speed are reduced, but based on my test, this is almost nothing. So that is going to be all of the stats for the two weapons. So now you guys know basically everything that you need to know between these two weapons. The only thing left that I have to talk about is going to be the attachments for the Fennec. We're not going to get into the QQ9 right now because I kind of want to do that in the future. But because the Fennec is the new gun, let's go ahead and talk about attachments on that, and then we'll get into my final thoughts of the two weapons. So in terms of the Fennec, as you guys can tell from these stats, this thing is a absolute close range beam, but one thing that I don't really like about it sometimes is that the accuracy is just really bad, and then the recoil kicks up a ton. So one of the problems I had with this weapon is I'd get in engagements that are kind of mid-range, and I just wasn't able to win those kind of gunfights, but I'd be able to win basically every single close range fight. So I tried to make a class that would be also competitive at mid-range, which is basically going to be anywhere from like 10 to 20 meters. So this is what I came up with. Now, I went through a couple different iterations of this class. A couple of the attachments I tried out but didn't really think worked too well is going to be number one, the MIP extended light barrel. I thought this would be good because it extended the damage ranges, but I actually tested this and it's a 10% increase, which is basically nothing, especially since this already has low ranges. And you lose ADS speed for this, and you gain a little bit of accuracy, but I thought there'd be better attachments that give me more accuracy, so I didn't go with that barrel. And also the integral suppressor, I thought this would be pretty good, but number one, you lose accuracy, and number two, with an SMG where you're going to be in people's faces, suppression really doesn't matter that much. And then everything after that, I didn't really want to lose ADS bullet spread accuracy and especially vertical recoil, so I didn't go with any barrels. In terms of the steady stock, all you lose with this is going to be ADS movement speed, and you basically gain a lot of like accuracy and stuff like that, so this was kind of a no-brainer for me. And then the extended mag we've already talked about, and then the OWC laser, this is a great attachment on basically any gun. You gain ADS speed and ADS bullet spread accuracy, and all you lose is visible laser sights, which really doesn't matter that much because people will probably already see you at this point. This isn't a gun you pre-aim with, you kind of aim onto people, spray, and then unscope, so most of the time people won't even really see the laser. And then a red dot, as I said before, I hate the iron sights, but you could ditch that and maybe do like an underbarrel or perk or something like that. But I personally just love running a red dot on this weapon because I hate the iron sights. And then a granulated basically to help me with that accuracy a little bit more. And then again, I do lose some ADS movement speed, which is not a really big deal for most players, especially since most players won't be strafing, which is moving side to side while they're scoped in. I do that a lot, but I really noticed that the ADS movement speed that you lose from the granulated and the steady stock is really not that much. So as you can tell, the stats end up being everything the exact same, except you get boosted accuracy. So that is the class I do run with the Fennec. Definitely try it out, but in terms of my final thoughts between the QQ9 and the Fennec SMG, I honestly think that they're very similar, and it'll just kind of depend on your playstyle and what gun you enjoy more. Again, they're very, very similar. I think for me, I enjoy the Fennec a lot more. I just love guns that shoot super, super fast. And another stat that I didn't really mention is because the Fennec shoots faster, it means that it'll be less punishing when you miss shots. Although this is balanced out though by the fact that this gun does shoot so fast that you lose ammo really quickly, so you're going to be reloading a lot more, so that will kind of offset between the QQ9 and the Fennec. So I mean, realistically, time to kill wise and everything, I think the QQ9 will be a little bit better at those mid ranges, but if you really want to get in people's faces, I think the Fennec will be really, really good at that, if not one of the best guns in the game, while also being able to do mid range somewhat decently if you do have a class like this. So that is going to be everything for all of my thoughts and the stats on these two weapons. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely make sure to drop a like and a sub down below, as well as comment which weapon you prefer between these two. And with all of that being said, I will see you guys later. Peace.